Listen, I have an idea.
It's how I feel when you make lemonade. Whatever today has given you. 511 headaches, still call it Thanksgiving. True.
Welcome to another edition of the Super Duper Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Rizz, here with the super producer, Ez McMahon.
Yes. What's going on, Rob? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, just popping my peas, you know?
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Loud and clear.
Hey, man, and also, I wish I was my man, Shohei Ohtani, right now. 700 million reasons. Imagine him in the club after he signs that. We'll get into that. Thank you for checking out Super Duper Pod. We don't take your listens lightly. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Super Duper Pod, SUPADPAPOD. This is an HP 53 production. So make sure you also follow us online at HP53productions.com for our merch and additional content such as the Father Good podcast with Marshall Givens and Ez with the Easy Smoke and GM podcast. Got a nice Bears win today.
Big win against
man.
a very good team, man. So we've won 2 in a row now. You win another game, that's a winning streak.
Hey, man, that's what they say. That's what they say.
It's happened before.
And I thought about Glenn today. Shout out to Glenn. He was on the pod when the season started, and he's like, the Bears are going to make the playoffs. And I saw the graphic that the Bears are technically still in the hunt for a playoff spot. And I was like, wow.
They're in the hunt.
Glenn, that's not I don't think they're going to make it. But I was like, hey, that's shout out to Glenn. If they make it, get that man his flowers.
If they win out and finish 9-8, they probably will make the playoffs. That's crazy.
That'll be something. And then they'll take that number 1 pick and get some other people because that's all we need.
Right.
We don't want to do the same thing. But for more sports take, make sure you check out Easy Smoke and GM Podcast wherever you get your podcast. So as me and you today, man, we made it to December, man. Just want to say to people, thank you for following us, checking us out. We didn't record last week. Then 1 week I wasn't feeling well. 1 week had some stuff going on. So I'm glad you're just staying with us, sticking with us, sputtering through the end of the year. So we thank you for hanging on and hanging out with us, man. So as me and you, so we doing a bit of a catch up here. You're gonna get 2 episodes in this week, today and our normal time this Thursday, God willing. So as the word of the year, have you seen this article anywhere about the word of the year? No. So, we old. A lot of this old. We're old, man. So the new word of the year is the Gen Z slang term. It's hilarious that slang term is not colloquial as a colloquialism, but slang term is Rizz, R-I-Z-Z.
Okay.
It's derived from charisma. So it's like, if you have Rizz. So Rizz emerged. This is from the New York Times. So Rizz emerged out of the internet and gaming culture, according to Oxford, and was popularized in 2022 on YouTube and Switch by a person named Kai Cenat, who posted Rizz tips videos online and went viral in June after the actor Tom Holland, in an interview with BuzzFeed, said, "I have no Rizz whatsoever. I have limited Rizz." So, Ez, do you have Rizz, man?
I think you have more than I do.
Well, I mean, when I get up in the morning and my back be hurting and my knee be hurting, I don't have no Rizz. It's like I got Rizz after I stretch. You know what I mean? After I drink a green tea, you know what I'm saying? Get a nice stretch in, then maybe a little Rizz.
I have never been told that I have charisma. I've never heard that adjective said about me. So I don't think I got Rizz.
Hey, it's an old man podcast. We like Rizz. We like Rizz for real. Rizz. That's the word. You're like, who are y'all talking to, man? Jeez.
Rizz. R-I-Z-Z.
R-I-Z-Z. But I'm definitely gonna start using it. Believe that. Okay. Because we got Rizz here on the pod. You dig? But Oxford's word of the year is based on usage evidence drawn from its continually updated corpus of more than 22 billion words gathered from news sources across the English speaking world. The selection, according to Oxford, is meant to reflect the ethos, mood, or preoccupations of the preceding year, while also having potential as a term of lasting cultural significance. So, other top words for this year was deep fake. And I think that came from the AI. Because remember, it was all those weird videos of like Joe Biden and President Obama dancing and breakdancing. It's like, I know that's fake, but it looked kind of real. Or like they'll have Tom Cruise doing something. It was like, I know that's fake. but it looks mad real, and I get everybody scared about AI, man. Coronation was also another big word because after the Queen of England passed away, the whole topic was about who was going to be the next leader of England. So coronation came out, and that was one of the big words. So it's pretty wild, man. So one pairing, Swifty versus de-influencing related to celebrity culture. Like these, it's wild how like a word that means nothing all of a sudden becomes something. Like I remember. Well, you know, when a certain demographic, like when like those white politicians start doing something, it's dead. Remember when Dab was? I just would never forget this. Where everybody was dabbing, and then Hillary Clinton did the dab. I was like, yeah, that's it. It's officially
It's
dead.
over.
Like, let's go to the funeral. I mean, get the tuxes. You know, everybody was dabbing. Was dab. You know, Cam Newton was dab. Remember, he would dab after every touchdown. They had Hillary Clinton do the dab. Yeah, let's curtains. It was a nice run, dab. Here's your headstone. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I'm gonna start using Rizz. So if you see me in the street, when you see me in the street, I'm gonna have a shirt to say Rizz or Rizz Gang or something like that. I'll figure it out.
By the way, I happened to meet Cam Newton a couple weeks ago.
Oh, word. Oh, he was in Chicago, right?
Yeah, he was in town for him and Brandon Marshall. They got a podcast. And so they were doing the podcast at City Winery. Mm-hmm. He came into our station to promote it. And what's the word? Rizz?
Yeah, Rizz.
He's got it. Yeah. Yeah, he's a guy that he walks in and he commands respect. He's that you look at him and say, yeah, that's a different dude right there.
Yeah. Yeah, even with the Willy Wonka hat.
Even with the hat.
Hey man, hey, and I'm not. I didn't say that to be hated. I mean for real. It's like we can see the brother. It's like, hey, you must have Rizz to dress like this. You understand me?
That dude is Superman. I was like, I get it. Yeah.
He's 6'6", 2 something.
Yeah, all of it.
Big dude,
all of it, man. Yeah. So yeah, he's a different cat, man.
Shout out to Ken. So wait, so I know there was a lot going on with Brandon Marshall and the whole I Am Athlete thing. Ryan Clark, those dudes split from. Have you heard about this controversy? Yeah. So now he's connected with Cam Newton now.
Right.
Huh. Okay. Right. Oh, best to him. I hope those guys figured out they was hating on each other hard, man.
Yeah. They still are
on the internet.
They still are.
That sucks. Because the thing is, it's space for everybody. You know, we've talked about this off the line, right? You know, everybody has a podcast. Is the getting a podcast is a little barrier to entry. So if you guys just had disagreements, you know, we've had instances where that happened as a podcast out now, where it's like we had disagreement on how the power's gonna get cut. They went their way, and it's all good. There's no hate, but you know, each is on. My thing is just it's enough money and space and opportunity for you to do your own thing. You know,
I think you got to figure out the business stuff early on. Yeah.
Because that's how you stop being friends, right? And it's like, and you gotta be honest about it too, right? You gotta say, well, this is what I want, even though you're my friend. This is the deal I'll give anybody, right? And it agreed to be like, let's part ways and do it on our own. So that's unfortunate, but I hope they get figured out. But shout out to Brandon Marshall and Cam Newton. I mean, and if I'm Cam Newton, here's why I asked, because Cam Newton with his Funky Friday seems to be doing well. You know what I'm saying? Like on his own. So I didn't think he necessarily needed to combine forces unless Brandon Marshall already had the infrastructure that maybe Cam Newton was looking for.
Maybe that might be the case.
That's probably
because I know Brandon, you know, according to him and what he's been talking about, he put up a great deal of capital to make this stuff happen. So so you're right. Maybe that infrastructure is there, and you know, it works for both of them. So,
So another article, we talked about being old, and so I saw an article about Gen-Zers, and the title of it, this is from the New York Times as well. It's called "Gen Z Can't Afford the Rent," and so it was an article just about how these Gen Zers are having a tough time purchasing a home. Now, when we think about when we got out of college, like, you know, getting our own home was like on the list of things to do. Like it was a foregone conclusion that not necessarily it wasn't like a house or you wouldn't get the house your parents had, but you were going to get something that was yours. And we both own condos, right? And we got a couple years out of school, and it was just like everybody, all of our friends had a spot, right? Everybody had a car, everybody had a house, you know what I'm saying? And if you rented, it was like, oh, you rent? Okay, you gotta get your business together because you gotta rent. We out here buying. I own this store, even though I got a 30-year mortgage. Even though I have 30 years,
it was mine.
It's a matchbox.
It's my mortgage.
It's my mortgage, and I gotta, and even though I'm with this you know what I don't miss, bro? Those HOAs, those association fees. It's like,
yes,
what?
Sir.
Oh my God! Once I did that, I was like, I'll never live in a condo again.
No,
never.
Then because then you get the house. Like I got the house now. You got to do.
Yeah, you got a house too. Yeah.
You got to cut your own grass.
But see, but them HOAs,
you're paying the money, or if you pay like me, or you got to shovel your own snow.
I don't mind it.
You didn't have to worry about that in the condo.
But no, actually, I kind of did, man, because it was like, who I'm paying? The guys weren't getting there in time. I got to leave. I had to shovel my own snow anyway. Give me money. Give me that $50 back. Give it right back. I did. I did this, man. But they're saying the Gen-Zers, they reached out to like about 400 people in an online Times request, just asking about their housing experiences. And as they went through a lot of these people, it was like some of them were still living at home. Like the typical first-time homeowner was 36 years old. That's a record high. Like again,
36?
36. Yeah.
Wow.
We were 24, right?
Yeah.
And shoot, even our parents, I think my parents, they got married at 65. Well, I doubt they on date, but I mean, and let's keep it real too. I think for the article, it's like just even living in their own space. So let's assume that's what it is, right? Just your own space. But it's like a lot of people can't even afford their own space by themselves.
Right.
Yeah. I thought you were about to say something. I'm bad.
No, go ahead. No.
Yeah, so about 1/3 of the generations of Gen Z's adults live with their parents and plan on staying with them as a long-term housing solutions. Others are sleeping in living rooms, rushing, moving in with their partners, and migrating out of big cities. Because I saw that too. Like there are people, it was like another article about people who they want to break up, but they can't. They can't afford this mortgage.
We can't, right?
They got the sun. It's like, I hate the way you chew. I hate the way you breathe. Guess what though? You ain't leaving. It's like they on job interviews. Like, nah, I don't care. Good luck. Don't leave me here with this.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah, so like one woman, Kyla Wilson, she's a 23-year-old paraprofessional in the Bronx. 85% of her income goes to rent. That's crazy. You live in the wrong place.
How does she? Well,
she doesn't.
She lives in New York, so she doesn't have to pay for a car. You don't need a car in New York.
She tap dances on the street in the weekend. That's the only way this works. Go ahead.
Eating a lot of ramen.
Wait, but hold on. Before you make your point, so another woman, Savannah Scott, 23-year-old servant in Reno, 75% of her income goes to rent. Manny Rawlings in Mamaroneck, New York, 70% of his income goes to rent. Now, here's a person, okay. Bridget Dale is a 27-year-old book editor living in Stamford, Connecticut. 50% of her income goes to rent.
So here's the question then. Everything's going up, right? The cost of everything, cost of rent, the cost of a car, cost of food, everything's going up, but wages aren't going up.
Not at all.
At the same rate. How do you fix that?
Well, that's kind of that's the bag they're in. Like again, when you and I got out of college, so it was quote unquote bad when we got out of college, right? I mean, through 2008, because it was like jobs were. So for example, when I worked for Vibe Magazine, my mentor, shout out to him, he had the same job that I had when I got there. He was the president of the company at that point. And so when he would always say, like, when we would do, like, say, the September issue, which was the fashion issue, the March and September were the largest issues of the year because they were fashion. Remember when we used to have big old magazines just full of ads, and it was like, and he would be like, man, I barely had to make calls because people were just sending money my way because that was the economy. For me, I had to really like dig to get half of what he did, right? Because the economy changed. Now with stuff, just like you said, stuff is, excuse me, money, everything costs more, but the wages aren't increasing at the same pace. And also there are different avenues and what things people are spending on. It's just hard to like even fathom getting your own place, right? Because even when we got out, people could expect to get a really good job, right, out of college, making 70, $80,000. You know what I'm saying? Now you can still do that, but it's a very specific job you have to have. Like, you gotta be like in finance or something. And even still, that's not necessarily guaranteed. That's
Right.
probably has all kind of stipulations on it, right? And people gonna work themselves to death because they don't want to lose this job. Because also I think this group of students, well, maybe they're avoiding it, but also are just walking into high debt, right? Just because of college. And you and I talked
Right.
about that at length, like just reimagining what it is after high school, for people, because this debt thing is serious, man. I mean, you're forced to work certain jobs or do certain things because you owe so much money. Because if you don't pay it or don't start paying it back, this is just an albatross over your head, literally for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? And who wants that? But
Right.
this, and again, and back to when we were coming up, just like you can get a job, and it wasn't even about just like our parents taught us or showed us or tried to tell us. I'm talking about our generation's parents, not just our parents specifically. Shout out to the McMahon, shout out to the Rizz. But it was more like, you can't skip any steps. And I still believe in that mantra. You can't skip steps. I do feel like some of the Gen-Zers want to skip steps, like get right to being a CEO. It's like it just some steps you can't skip, man. And sometimes you gotta take a crappy job on the front end. It's just everybody gets a crappy job the first time out. You don't, nobody gets a banger job very rarely, unless you're
Right.
LeBron or Kobe. Like, your first job is trash. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my first job. But I mean, I always wonder, is this good advice? Because you look at sports and entertainment, these people take crappy jobs, but they get the experience, right? Uh, being an entrepreneur among young people also is more of an option than it was for us. Like, I mean, thought about it, but they're like these kids. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's on their mind all the time, is the side hustle. And this is what I really want to do. I want to work in here just because my mama made me. I had to get a crib, but it's like we was just trying to get the nice the job that would afford me my home and my car and pay for my entertainment, right? And so, like, being an entrepreneur wasn't. Well, what I almost speak for you is, how did you feel when we were younger? Were you trying to be an entrepreneur then? Were you like, I want to own my own company? Was that something you were thinking about?
Not offhand. No, no.
Yeah,
I was just trying to get to a point where I could rise in the company in hopes of, getting the wage that I thought that I deserved.
mm-hmm.
That probably didn't happen the way I wanted it to back then, but yeah, that was
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about going into my own back then. I probably
Yeah.
should have.
Well, also we were under a different kind of economy and society, right? Because before us, people worked at the same place for 30 years
Right,
and
right.
lived a nice life. You know what I'm saying? Like, when they retired, they had a nice little pension going. You know what I'm saying? They got to a nice number. They afford themselves a nice life. Like, my niece and I always talk about this. Uh, it's like my parents, and again, shout out to my parents. I just always admire what they did. They raised 3 children, and most of us got advanced degree. All of us got degrees. Then, got advanced degrees. It's like, and these between them, they got a year of college, right? And my niece, shout out to Jay, she was like, they made way less money than we did, but they seem to have more money at their stage of life, right?
Right.
But because a lot of it is, we not quote unquote living unless we go into the high end restaurants. Or we getting our passport stamped. You know what I'm saying? You going to the gala season. You gotta have them ones. Man, my parents they cooking the dinners at the crib. They ain't vacation. Yeah, we're gonna drive to Tennessee. That's a vacation. This is not a vacation, sir. But you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? That life lent it to be more economical in the long run. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even with these Gen Zers, it's like the goals are just different. Because a lot of them, like you said, you talking about a lot of them don't even drive, right? So like, but maybe it's because they're like, I can't afford a car. Let me just. But then they end up in a lot of Ubers when it's like, well, it's kind of, if you save the Uber money, you get your car wherever you want to. You know what I'm saying? And again, you talked about the kids staying with their parents longer. For whatever reason, it was like, we gotta get out of here. And our parents were not abusing us. They were wonderful people.
No, no, they were awesome. But it was, man, yo, I gotta go.
I gotta go. I got to go try to do. Things I'm trying to see in my house. Now, I think they have more flexibility though, right? Because as we talked about, there's more options to them in terms of, like I said, they can really look into being more entrepreneurial. Like social media flipped it on its head. It's nothing, this is not new, but it's more options to become successful and to gain additional revenue from just talking on a podcast, posting stuff about your cat, right? People are winning out here, making, these like little Amazon review things. Folks they got time to do it. They coding on the side, right? I mean, just whatever it is, they got more flexibility. But again, as I talked about earlier, but they're probably spending it more on outings, trips, and experiences, right? Because the social media is what the trick is for them, right? Because you have to have it feels like you have to have a certain lifestyle on social media. You have to be doing big and living. Like, I mean, again, I don't want to romanticize our youth, but I don't think it was all like we were comparing like what so-and-so did to us. It was like I was trying to live my own little life. You know what I'm saying? Like keep a couple. I mean, you kind of knew, oh, so-and-so got a job doing yada yada yada. That's cool. But you didn't, it wasn't always in your face. It wasn't something that you would constantly compare yourself to. It was like, oh man, you working where? And you probably had the conversation, all right, I'm working on something too. Cool. But now it's like constantly in your face where like you're always feeling like you gotta do something more, do something better. Because I was reading in some of the articles, like they were trying to get to their dream job. That's why I stayed with their parents. And nothing's wrong with that. But like sometimes the dream job takes getting the bad job, and the bad job, meeting all these people. You don't just walk into the dream job. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like these competing thoughts that are affecting how people live and how they approach job searches and how they approach purchasing homes. Because I will say, my pops did tell me when I bought the crib, he said, son, just telling you right now, yeah, man, it was very wise. He's like, life is about flexibility. He's like, the less flexible you are, he's like, the less life is available to you. He's like, so when you buy a house, that means you are here. So then that's, you are now your options. You get married, that limits your options because you can only do so many things. You have to incorporate another person. You have kids. His whole thing was like, every decision you make, that affects your flexibility. So you have to keep that in mind as you make decisions, right? So I think that, again, these Gen-Zers have more flexibility, and especially remote work, remote have you, that allows them to venture out to more. But again, like I was saying before, I think the whole wanting the perfect job or to be the boss up front, that might be the one part that's undoing them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I can say, even where I am now and the quote unquote big, like vibe at the time was the job I had that kind of felt like out of nowhere. I was making a bunch of money at 26, like doing like all kind of cool stuff at 26. But it's because I had a crappy job right out of college, and I sat next to a dude who was super cool. He got a job next to somebody who knew that they needed somebody for vibe. He was like, wait a minute, call Griggs. That's how I got the job. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't because I finessed my way. God worked it out. And I'm sitting next to the guy, but it's like I had to take the crappy job and work all night, work 200 hours in a month. To the boss was like, hey, Rob, so I never say this, go home. Like, just don't come back. You've worked a little bit too much. We might get in trouble because that's how much you're here, dog. You gonna get in trouble, dog. Yeah, man. But it's also different metrics of success. Like what we think is successful and maybe what Gen Zers think is successful may not be all that successful, right? Because like at a point, what are we gonna do with all these likes and all these, followers? You know what I'm saying? Like what are we gonna do with it all? There was a video, you probably saw it, as with Snoop Dogg saw he had 1 billion streams. I think it was on Spotify. Did you see this?
No.
Yeah, it was a video of Snoop talking about like what he had found out he had 1 billion streams on Spotify. Thought that was cool, and talked to his publisher, and it came out to just $45,000. That
a billion streams was only worth 45,000. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Now again, it was Snoop on the video. Could have been a deep fake, but I mean, it seemed like it was a real video. And that's like, doggone. I thought that was a goal, was to get 1 billion streams. So you telling me that don't mean nothing? You know what I'm saying? So what are we doing with all these things? And like the growth of the influencer industry, right? It's like being a professional TikToker and professional, you know what I'm saying? A professional photographer of stuff. Like that's the new goal for people. It's not like trying to, and again, you and I talk about, we are entrepreneurs, we do this. So it's not like we are saying you should not try to do your own thing on your own hustle. But it's like even the influencer industry, like that's such a hard gig. That's almost just as hard as getting like to the NBA. I mean, for real. Because it's like you got to be posting all the time. And we know people who post all the time. And that thing got to hit at the right time in the right way for some companies that want to give you millions of dollars for just to post a couple things, right? So it's like that's a shot in the dark, man. But it feels so accessible, and the barrier to entry are very low. So why not give it a whirl, right? The NBA is hard to get into. The NFL is hard to get into. You kind of got to be in a certain place. But to be an influencer, hey man, you got the right cats. I mean, literal cats or animals, and you put a puppet show on with them. Guess what? Now you're the best thing. You're giving away a video on the MTV Awards. Who knew, man? And we talk about this often, just how the trades are dwindling. Trade professions are dwindling. Like that's why the plumber could charge you a gang of money, because ain't nobody else trying to be a plumber. You know what I'm saying? Electricians, but it's like these are not considered good jobs for whatever reason. It's like, hey man, yes they are. You know what I mean? Like if you living with your folks, you have nowhere to go, know what to do, and you good with tinkering stuff. Why not go? Because here's a flip, is you could be the influencer you always wanted to be by being an electrician, by being you know what I'm saying? It's like so I feel like we've tricked ourselves to a degree, right? Tricked ourselves out of the life you want to live, man. But I'm sure the generation before us thought we was gonna be stupid and not be able to have homes and kids, and here we are doing that. They thought we love rap music too much, and here we are listening to old school records. And so I'm sure these kids will be okay, and maybe they might be better for like saving some money on the front end, right? Because hey, we got cribs 24. We was paying a lot of stuff out at 24, man. Paying for repairs, all kind of some moving costs. Jeez.
It was worth it.
No, it definitely was. Shout out to Forestville. IYK. YK.
It was worth it.
Yeah. So last thing we got, here's the big thought of the day, man. So it's more of a dads and don'ts. So, I was looking at my kids, man. I love the Chipmunks. Shout out to the Chipmunks. They really had a really good day today. I just want to put that on record, because when they don't have good days, I tell y'all too. So I'll make sure I put it on wax that they had a good day, man. But I was thinking about just how kids should have their own fun, right? So if you're really parenting, like for real, parenting is hard. Like it's a full job, right? Especially in 2023. But I think about it, like, and my sisters I talk about all the time, my parents didn't do half the stuff for my kids that I do. Like, I mean, this is not a diss either. This is an observation. Actually, I envy them, right? Because, for example, I got an award in elementary school for being the best student. Now, granted, I'm gonna be self-deprecating. It was like 19 of us in the class, but whatever. I was 1 out of 19. My parents had no idea what my science projects were. I remember vividly, I had to make a kite. Like my mother just took me to Walgreens and was like, yeah, what you need? I just bought stuff, got it. She went, okay, I'm going to sleep. I got to work tonight. The end. A on the project. You understand me? Like with the Chipmunks, guess what, dog? I'm measuring stuff. I'm testing the wind. I'm driving the home department. You know what I'm saying? Get stuff. I got the president. I'm looking at them like, you don't know what you got to do? I know what you got to do. Like, what's the problem? Homework. You know what I mean? They call me Dad. Where are you? Huh? I said, son, I'm nowhere near the house. I need your help. I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I dare not call Bob Griggs. Dad, I need you. He would come home to whoop me and then leave, go right back out the door. Right? I mean, like even I was after school stuff, parents stressed out. We in car, all we doing was driving kids back and forth, here and there. And we're making them do so much stuff, right? Dance recital over here, combined with karate over here, combined with soccer practice, and it's winter, but you're practicing with the 5Y team, your kids 3. What are we doing? Right? Like we plan their fun, we plan their after school, put them in all types of programs to keep them busy. Now, our parents either trusted us too much or was teaching us a lesson in independence. Like the big thing I realized is we learned how to make our own fun, right? Like I went to Williams College, shout out to Williams College. Williamstown is the smallest little town ever. It ain't nothing but mountains around you, right? But guess what? You just make your own fun because you've been doing this since you was a kid. Like, remember leaving the house you was a shorty? Like, you just stepped out the door. You don't know what awaited you. All you knew was your bike had air in the tires. That's literally all you knew, right? You hit the bricks. You ain't know who was outside. You ain't know who was going to make it outside. Sometimes the day was magical, right? Everybody was out here. The girl that you thought was cute was on the block that day. Everybody was there. You had 18 people to play a nice game of softball, you know what I'm saying? Or a night enough to play a real full game of football, you know what I'm saying? The weather hit just right. And there was some days it sucked. You went outside, couldn't find nobody. You just walking up and down the streets, right? Aimlessly. The candy store closed. It's like, where is everybody? Did I not get invited to a party? It's like and so you just came into the house and did stuff. Play with your toys, play with the games. You know what I'm saying? You made your own fun. Now, but I think now, though, it feels like if you're not planning all these things for your kids, that you're doing them a disservice and you're not enriching them. But are we teaching them that every day is supposed to be a fun day? This is a question I've asked myself. I was looking at my kids. Am I teaching, like, is every day a fun day? Because that's not true. Even as an adult, every day isn't a fun day. Some days are boring. I know I don't try to cuss on the pod. My mom listen, but she'll get it. Some days are boring as hell. Okay, like you just learn how to entertain yourself. That's what you do. And who are we doing this for? Like I said, parents are crisscrossing towns, like leaving this early to get here late to do this. And now we should put our kids in programs, teach them things. We should also teach them how to manage their own day in small doses. Because nothing's worse. Because you got to remember, they won't be kids forever. Like it was a revelation for me. It was heartbreaking, but it was a revelation. I tell the boys, this was, obviously you guys know about Brooklyn, you've been listening for a while, but I tell the boys, guys, I'm showing you this because Dad won't be here forever. And they look at me, their eyes get big because in their mind, I'm gonna be there forever. But the truth is I'm not, right? Even if I'm still alive and they are doing some great things across town or in some other part of the country, God willing, right? And I hope they're safe and successful. I gotta prepare them to be ready to do it on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like they can't always be calling me. Now, granted, I keep it a buck. I still call Bob Griggs, shout out to Bob, because he just know more stuff than I do, right? But there are some things I still just take care of myself because it's what he showed me. Do it yourself, right? That's what I was trained as a little kid. You figure it out. You're 11, you 12. Figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because again, nothing's worse when an adult that just can't sit with themselves, like enjoy quiet time and think of their own fun, right? Everything has to be a fun day. Why can't we do this? Why can't we go to? Sometimes just being in the house, managing your own stuff is a good thing. When you were a kid and you play with yourself, it's like, you know what? I don't like this toy anymore. Let me get rid of this. Sometimes you need that. Get rid of that to make room for more stuff, or to realize, you know what, I don't really fool with me, Bugs Bunny like that no more. Let me get rid of these posters. You know what I mean, put something up different on my wall. Excuse me. And that's why my sisters and I are so close. Shout out to the original six. We used to make mixtapes. We watched shows. And we went to the mall to get cookies. Like, we just made our own fun. So this is for all the parents, just encouraging you guys, like, not to stress yourselves out about trying to make the kids have and make up the fun for them. It's okay for them to figure out their own fun. You did it. And look at you. You're raising a kid today, right? I'm sure your kid's not crazy. Some of them are. Some of your kids are crazy. I've been around them. But for the most part, you turn out all right, and they will too. So that's our show for today. As I missed anything?
No, I think you covered it all.
Appreciate you, sir. Again, make sure you follow us online at hp53productions.com and on Instagram at superdupapod, SUPADUPAPOD. We do not take your listens lightly. Make sure you like, rate, share, and review. Give us that 5 stars. I mean, because this was not a bad show. Even up with 2 weeks off, we still killing. If you give us a 4, you're right next to 5. So do your boy a solid. You understand me? Give us a young 5. Did I miss anything? Got any other announcements, man?
You mad you put me on the spot like that? No real announcements.
Oh, man. Sorry, brother.
No real announcements.
Okay. I'm off. I'm shaking off the rust. All right.
Yes, sir.
But again, make sure you're back. So we'll be back this Thursday. So we got 2 pods this week because we're going to catch up and make up for the year.
Again.
And our last episode, we'll have 1 episode right before the Christmas holiday, and we'll be on a nice little break, and then we'll be back in New Year. So make sure you check in with us for the next couple of weeks. So thank you again for checking us out. God bless you. Hey, mama, this is the Super Duper Podcast.
That's champagne, real pain, champagne from you and I. Wait, you and I? Now that's champagne. If you was I, would you be off on this campaign? Is it suicide? If you know that bringing hope here is how careers die. Or do the K stand for kamikaze? The J silent is everywhere, you can feel them probably. Surely, lately, I've been up late with demons in my basement trying to get me to hate this. Life thinking I should be further and then I choke up. As soon as I got silent, then the truth spoke up. This said, how you know you ain't perfect? Let that soak up and soak in. You know how you know that you blessed? I woke up, and I'm